Africa houses multiple language families, ranging from Afro-Asian to Indo-European to Niger-Congo. Within these different families are hundreds of different languages, each representing its own tribe. And each tribe has its own traditions, customs, and art. Instead of trying to examine all of the different art forms found on the continent, we will take a sample that will give us an example of the length and breadth of their uses, forms, and mediums in this lecture on classical African art, Asante, Fang, Benin, and Mende art. The objectives of this lecture are to identify the cultures and types of African art, to analyze their style, use, and meaning. We will begin with kente cloth. Kente cloth is a textile pattern found here. As you can see, it has a multitude of different colors representing the vibrancy of this culture. It is found in modern Ghana, an area which used to be ruled by the powerful Akan states. It was defeated by Britain in 1896. Originally, kente cloth was worn by the Asantehene, the main chief of the tribe. After independence, it became a symbol of national pride, as well as one of their many art forms that were recognized nationally. While once limited just to ruling elites of their tribes, today it can be bought, purchased, and found throughout the region as well as internationally in online stores. The next art form that we'll look at is the bieri. Bieri are sculptures. They are indigenous to modern Gabon. Here is where the Fang culture existed and produced these artifacts. Basically, the bieri were statues that protected reliquaries. Reliquaries were instruments such as boxes, or places that held relics, usually the remains of ancestors. It acted as a totem to keep the relics safe. It could be a head or a tall figure. Usually with the bieri, it depicts the style of dress as well as hairstyles found during the time period. The interesting thing about the bieri is the actual form of the piece itself. As you can see here, it is not intended to depict the human body accurately. Instead, it is more of a form of abstract art. More importantly, bieri influenced art around the world, and more specifically, art of the early 20th century found in Paris, France. Artists such as Pablo Picasso were greatly influenced by the shapes of the bieri's face, the depictions of human bodies, and you can see its influence in many of his canvases. The next major form of art that we will look at is the Sowe. Sowe are masks found in modern Sierra Leone. It's here where you will find the Mende culture as well as the language. Sowe were used by secret societies that took young men and women aside when they hit a certain age to teach them things that they needed to know as adults. Sonde societies, for example, taught young women traditional tribal values. During these rituals, the Sowe would be worn by Sonde women who would dance and pass down this important knowledge. Usually it represents the Sonde member's guardian spirit. Now it's important to know that this type of education is tribal and social in nature. Kids in modern Sierra Leone still go to school, and there they learn basic knowledge necessary for modern economies and societies. The Sowe, the rite, and the teachings provided herein are more cultural, giving value and meaning to the daily lives of children in Sierra Leone. Finally, there is the famous bronze work of the Benin Kingdom. The Kingdom of Benin was located not in modern Benin, but instead in Nigeria. It was once the area of a very powerful realm, headed by a king and containing nobles. The king of Benin at one time actually tried to construct a wall around his kingdom in an effort to keep the rainforest, the livestock, the animals out, as well as to provide defenses against invaders and to limit the ability of their followers to rebel against his power. The Benin bronzes depict one of two different medium. The first are the bronze figurines, usually masks, as you can see in the upper portion of your screen. The others are historical pictures, oftentimes depicting famous battles. These bronzes were usually a symbol of their power, and today are valued highly in the world of art. As you can see, African art takes multiple forms depending on the different cultures that produce them. Some had a practical value, as we can see with the sowe, as they were used in the various rites that marked adulthood. Others are decorative. And while these are images and forms of art that were more traditional and found in classical Africa, it's important to note that today the artistic culture of Africa still lives on in the cultures that inhabit the continent.